Hello, everyone. I hope you had a good week. Today we're going to talk about a passage from John 14 where Jesus says to his disciples, I am the way and the truth and the life. This passage is quite famous and probably most of you have heard it before, but what does it mean? I am the way, the truth, and the life. Well, one of the easiest ways I could think of to explain it was if we were to think of food. And you think to yourself, food, what does food have to do with any of this? Well, your parents have probably told you many times that you have to eat healthy. It's not always exciting to eat healthy, but let's take what they say and think of the opposite of what they're saying. So your parents are saying, eat healthy, which means a good mixture of protein and vegetables and all the necessary things your body needs to grow and be healthy. The other side of that is all the junk food. So you could eat popcorn and chips and chocolate bars and drink pop. We could do that all day, and your stomach would think that it was full. You might feel full and you might feel satisfied as much as you do if you ate a big meal of potatoes and carrots and hamburger. But if you did it too long, the result would be completely different. So let's look at it the way, the truth, and the life. Your parents tell you one way, and that's the way of eating healthy and making sure you stay healthy. The other way is all about junk food. The truth of that is if you eat healthy, you're going to stay healthy, or at least more healthy, and you're going to grow big, and you're going to go strong, and you're going to be as healthy as you possibly can if you eat healthy. You go to the other side. The truth of following the way of junk food is that you are not going to be healthy. You are going to be overweight. You're going to have rotten teeth. Your immune system won't be strong. Basically, it is bad for you on pretty much every level. And the more of it you eat, the less healthy you get. So that's the truth, which leads, of course, to the life. The life that you get from eating good, healthy food is a good life, a healthy life. The life that you get from eating only junk food is not really much life at all. In fact, you could maybe shorten your life if that's all you decide to eat. That's not so different from what Jesus is saying. He is showing us the way in which we can live, and the truth of that way is that it is very healthy. It's not easy. We're being asked to always put God first in our lives, and by doing so, we can love our family, our friends, and the world around us, and we can serve them, however that might look. And that way and that truth lead to life. A healthy life with good relationships with people, and a healthy relationship with our God, which leads to the kind of life that is really worth living. We can follow other ways in which sometimes we're told could lead to a good life, but those ways don't lead to life in the same way that Jesus' way leads to life. It doesn't lead to the same kind of wholeness and relationships and just God's abundant presence being known in our life in the same way. If we follow Jesus, it's like eating healthy, like our parents tell us. It leads to a good life filled with the health of the spirit and good, healthy relationships. I don't know if that makes it any clearer, but think of it like eating healthy versus eating junk food. Jesus' way is to eat healthy so we can stay healthy and we can live a good life. And Jesus' way is like that. It's leading us to a good life, a healthy life, and a life filled with God. So I hope that helps. And as I promised, we continue with our story of Peter with chapter 3. A soft breeze greeted Peter as the window swung open. The hummingbird flitted out and hung suspended in front of Peter's nose, just out of arm's reach. "What now?" asked Peter. "Jump." "What? Jump? Are you insane?" The hummingbird giggled. At least Peter thought that it giggled, It was hard to tell with a hummingbird. It sounded like a cell phone put to vibrate and stuffed in the crack of a sofa. You have to jump, but trust me, all will be well. I can't jump. I'll die. I should mention that Peter's room was on the second floor. Although it was unlikely he would have died, a jump from that distance would actually have hurt. Look at it as your first test. You want to be brave again, don't you? I can't be brave if my neck is broken, he shot back tensely. Trust me. A bit of a disclaimer. Don't try this at home. In fact, never jump out of your second-story window, unless you have a talking hummingbird who is the emissary of the one over the sea. If that ever happens, perhaps you can consider this, but otherwise stick to jumping on your parents' bed. Peter looked down and then looked at the little bird floating so effortlessly in front of him. This is insane, he thought to himself. But then, this whole night had been something taken from the pages of one of his fantasy novels. Why should this moment be any different? He took a deep breath, and he jumped, with the final thought of, at least I didn't get mauled by a badger. He waited for the moment when he would hit the ground, but the moment never came. He seemed to fall forever. He opened his eyes. When did he close them, he thought? And instead of seeing his backyard or the house or the neighbor's home, he saw colors. All kinds of colors sliding and spinning past him. To his side there was color, and below him there was color, and above him, well, there was color, but there was also a tiny house, his tiny house, receding into the distance. It was getting smaller by the second, and before he knew it, it had totally disappeared. He looked down again. Far below his feet, or so it seemed, something was approaching him. It looked like grass, or at least something green. It got larger and larger. The colors around him spun and slid and changed. It was like he was caught in a giant kaleidoscope. He felt dizzy and sick and so confused he couldn't even remember his own name. And then, just like that, it was over. The colors vanished and were replaced with lovely blue sky and the warm smell of the summer. He looked down, and the grass rushed up to meet him. As quickly as it began, his strange jump was over. His feet touched the grass, and he collapsed into the soft turf. That wasn't so bad, came the high-pitched buzzing of the hummingbird. Peter started to laugh. Or was he crying? He couldn't tell. He stood up to look the little bird in the eye. That wasn't bad? Wasn't bad? That was the most terrifying thing I have ever done. Ever. What were all those colors? Oh, that was the bridge. The bridge between worlds. Between worlds? You mean I'm in another world? Yes, the hummingbird seemed very pleased with itself. What world am I in? I think it is called Earth. That was where I came from. Oh, that's right. Sorry. Let me think. Thomas. Thomas? The world is named Thomas? Yes. What kind of world is named Thomas? Fine, I don't know what this world is called. All I know is that this is where your quest begins, and we are going there. The hummingbird motioned with its beak to some low-lying hills in the distance. Why? What's there? A man by the name of Noah. Noah, as in the guy who built the ark? Same guy. He needs your help. With what? He will tell you when you find him. Peter almost said something more but decided not to. Okay, but what about shoes? I don't want to step on something sharp or poisonous. I have no shoes to give you, but this place is perfectly safe. The grass is softer than even the softest pillow. You'll be fine. All right, Peter said, somewhat petulantly. Are you ready? One moment. Peter turned his head and proceeded to vomit in the grass. His head had not stopped spinning after the fall from his world, and his stomach had decided in that moment to empty itself. After a few noisy minutes, he scrubbed his mouth with the back of his hand, stood up straight, and said to his guide, I'm ready. The hummingbird seemed to nod. That was gross. Okay, follow me. They set off together across the plain of grass stretching out in front of them. Well, thank you again for joining me, and I hope that you have a good week ahead, and we'll talk again next week. Bye for now.